The return of Dick Cheney. Let's play hardball. Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Let me start tonight with Dick Cheney. He's out there attacking President Obama over Iraq, pretending that he, Dick Cheney, wasn't the perpetrator of the disaster. It was Cheney who sold the limited George W. Bush on going into Iraq in the first place, that war of choice we have all come to regret. It was Dick Cheney who championed the neocons and the destruction of the Iraqi army, the destruction of the Iraqi government, and the banishment of the country's Sunni population from the government in Baghdad. It was Cheney and his limited partner Bush again who decided when the United States should leave Iraq. And it was Cheney again with his limited partner, President Bush, who signed an agreement with the Iraqi government that led to the release of the man now leading the ISIS forces streaming toward Baghdad and threatening war with the United States. Now comes Cheney again, pretending to have clean hands, once again using a favorable media platform, the op-ed page of the Wall Street Journal, and creating an oddly staged video with his daughter and his cowboy hat. His back to the Wyoming mountains, his face plastered to a teleprompter. It reminds me of those ads for reverse mortgages that Fred Thompson and Robert Wagner do. Or better yet, it's like the new commercial they're running on Fox right now for a company called Died in House that promises to tell you whether someone died in the house you're thinking of buying. It's a service we need for grading Dick Cheney's latest war talk. Before buying into Cheney's war talk, all of us ought to check out the past Cheney sales pitches, the ones that killed so many Americans. Let's put it nicely. Dick Cheney, of course, was consistently wrong on all aspects of the Iraq war. Let's watch him during his sales pitch before the war.
Regime change in Iraq would bring about a number of benefits to the region. When the gravest of threats are eliminated, the freedom-loving peoples of the region will have a chance to promote the values that can bring lasting peace.
And you think the American people are prepared for a long, costly, and bloody battle with significant American casualties? I don't think it's likely to unfold that way, Tim, because I really do believe we will be greeted as liberators.
If we do have to take action, do you think it will be a long war or a short war?
My own judgment, based on my time as Secretary of Defense and having operated in this area in the past, I'm confident that our troops will be successful, and I think it'll go relatively quickly. But you can't count on that. Weeks rather than months.
The war would last weeks in Iraq, and Cheney was still getting it wrong in May of 2005 when he told Larry King, I think they're in the last throes, if you will, of the insurgency. Howard, it just seems to me that the man is shameless. I mean, they used to say that about Liberace, laughed all the way to the bank. But here's a guy that just comes out again and again and again, wrong, 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 and seems to enjoy the fact that he has this immediate media. He gets automatic attention from the Wall Street Journal. They just run him like he's Henry Kissinger. I don't get it. In addition to that Wall Street Journal piece that ran today, Dick Cheney and his daughter Liz released a video today attacking President Obama. Let's watch this rather peculiar setting.
I'm Liz Cheney.
I'm Dick Cheney. We stand at a critical moment in the life of our nation. The policies of the last 6 years have left America diminished and weakened. Our enemies no longer fear us. Our allies no longer trust us.
We're forming the Alliance for a Strong America because we know America's security depends upon our ability to reverse President Obama's policies.
I don't know what to make of this. Is this a salaried position, this new company they're forming, or what? And the cowboy hat, what's that got to do with Iraq?
Dick Cheney comes out with no solutions whatsoever. It's all about partisan revenge. And as someone who once served in the second highest position in this land, to not respect the policy debate enough to contribute positively shows just how far he is off the reservation and should be drummed out of polite society.
Again, you should look up diedinhouse.com and look up Cheney and the Iraq War. Anyway, thank you, Howard Fineman. Thank you, David Corn. Last night on Fox News, Megyn Kelly gave a wind-up to her first question to Dick Cheney that should have flattened him right at the start. Here she is.
In your op-ed, you write as follows: rarely has a U.S. president been so wrong about so much at the expense of so many. But time and time again, history has proven that you got it wrong as well in Iraq, sir. You said there was no doubt Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. You said we would be greeted as liberators. You said the Iraq insurgency was in the last throes back in 2005. And you said that after our intervention, extremists would have to, quote, rethink their strategy of jihad. Now, with almost $1 trillion spent there, with 4,500 American lives lost there, what do you say to those who say you were so wrong about so much at the expense of so many?
No, I just fundamentally disagree, Megyn. You've got to go back and look at the track record.
Mr. President, in your speeches now, you rarely talk or mention Osama bin Laden. Why is that? Also, can you tell the American people if you have any more information, if you know if he is dead or alive? Final part here. Deep in your heart, don't you truly believe that until you find out if he is dead or alive, you won't really eliminate the threat of...
Well, deep in my heart, I know the man's on the run if he's alive at all. Met his match. So I don't know where he is. Nor, I just don't spend that much time on him. I'll be honest with you.
Last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. No Americans were harmed. They took care to avoid civilian casualties. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
Do you think that President Obama is dangerous?
Yes, I'll answer that one, Megyn. I think there's no question. I think that he is unique in terms of a president who is sitting in the Oval Office who has made very clear that his desire is to weaken the nation. There's no question but that he's a dangerous president and that we've got to fight back and that we've got to ensure that people understand the importance of American power in securing our freedom and security.
This is slightly higher order birtherism, essentially. And by the way, it is of a piece with what this wing of the neoconservative movement of what they did. They didn't misread tea leaves. They took and twisted this country's raw emotion and horror at what happened to 9/11, and they took that emotion, they took that fireman's war that people wanted fought, and they exported it to their pre-existing project to go look for oil and prospect for oil in Iraq. They twisted this country in a way that is vile. It isn't just making a mistake. I mean, I remember going and talking to Doug Feith, and we did these projects where columnists were allowed to go to the Pentagon, and this sort of convoluted case where he got from 9/11 to Saddam Hussein. Total falsehoods. Remember the mushroom cloud implying that this country that had no long-range missiles could nuke us. This was not just mistakes. This was vile.
Thank you so much.
No, I just fundamentally disagree, Megyn. You've got to go back and look at the track record.
Brendan, having been an operator yourself in some of these theaters and having seen the way that we've come to rely so heavily on special operations forces, what is your best guess about, 6 months from now, are we going to see more or less operators being put into Iraq?
That's a great question. And it's a tough one to really answer. I don't see this administration investing a whole lot into Iraq. The situation over there is a mess. And we left it that way, and I just don't see a long-term investment in special operations forces in Iraq.
Spencer Ackerman from The Guardian and former Navy SEAL Brandon Webb. Thank you.
You've got to go back and look at the track record.
The situation over there is a mess, and we left it that way.